heal, hide, resist, survive, redeem. These 5 words of power are used to describe the Fugutives, Clan Salubri, or do they actually? I'm your Lord and Saviour, and this is the Bloody Guide to Vampire Roleplay. The Salubri, as depicted in the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade, are an enigmatic bloodline whose purpose in the setting is just as vague as it is annoying. Anyone who has heard of the Salubri is aware of their unique quirk, the third eye that bursts onto their forehead post-embrace. This can be traced back to their founder, the antediluvian Saulot, or Saulot if your Cyclops is of Asian descent. The most common of the theories is that he was the first kindred to attain Golconda, the additional knowledge result allowing him to see things no one had seen before, the knowledge attained by his enlightenment manifesting itself physically. Whether he achieved this by himself or from a certain group of controversial vampires vetoed out of existence with or without their consent, both he and his clan to be would be known as healers and warriors, supposedly in the pursuit of Golconda as well. The other thing that most of you would be aware of is that the clan is no longer fully fledged, but a bloodline on the verge of extinction. The Tremere, as part of their medieval crusade to achieve dominance in the vampirical arcane, devoured the antediluvian and instigated the genocide of the supposed soul-eating Salubri throughout the centuries, resulting in the bloodline that barely exists tonight. Just through the brief description of Saulot and the history of the bloodline, there is a lot to unpack. The most striking about this is the theme of tragedy. Beyond the usual woes that come with being embraced as one of the eternal damned, you sprout a third eye that might as well be a bullseye to anyone and everyone that you are not quite right, regardless of the knowledge of the supernatural. People will ask questions, take pictures, and prod the weird person on the street like some exotic animal at the zoo. To the vampires in the know, you are a victim of their laws and their judgment that should be wiped out for being soul thieves, diablerists, or whatever the Tremere of that particular domain insist. To the vampires who don't know, you are to be treated with suspicion because why the fuck do you have a third eye on your head and why does it bleed with any discipline usage? You are a walking masquerade violation waiting to happen, which is far from the days of the clans adorning the high clan status despite their oddity. We have talked before in this series just how the worst human traits mutate with the vampiric condition, and neither vampire nor human likes any sense of individuality, or rather, anyone who sticks out from the established fashionable crowd. You have to be a pretty resilient individual to carry on the night as one of Saulot's progeny. This can be reflected in those the Salubri embrace, such as doctors, activists, as well as those who are terminally ill or suicide, where the embrace gives them a second chance, or, more sadly, someone who cares enough to listen and look after them for a short while, coddling you in the process. When the world and then some are on your back, it makes sense for sire and child to stick together, at least in the sense the character can take the sire as a Mwala. There are not enough Salubri to claim domain like a Bruja or Ventru might. Therefore, to roleplay a Salubri in V5, one should embrace this unique loneliness. I should note that despite sounding similar, loneliness and aloneness are not synonyms. To feel loneliness is isolation and a feeling that no one cares. The different clans, for the most part, are content with the security that their ilk brings and the relationships they have with some of their vampiric cousins, and, at the end of the night, despite it all, the vampire sect will protect and fight for them. The Salubri do not have this, especially if you follow the notion that only 7 of them exist in one go. The Salubri are one of the 3 independent Cainites in the setting, as of the writing and recording of this episode, so it is in their interest to align themselves with what sect rules the given setting just out of necessity. Their numbers are sparse, and chances are you are the only Salubri in your city, so, for lack of a better phrase, the presence of your Salubri is special. What does your character plan to achieve? What do you wish to to explore? Do you aim to find Golconda, or do you strike against it? Older editions of Vampire divided the Salubri into 3 castes. The Healer caste, which is the caste that V5 focuses on the most. Maybe you do not like the idea that there are supposedly 7 Salubri, or maybe you want to explore why this is the case. Chat with your ST and see what you can come up with. Is it the truth, or is there some sort of rumour spread by the Salubri? Perhaps the 7 are 7 elders that are overseeing or orchestrating something good, bad, or esoteric. While such a plot could undermine the ideas we have just been presenting, it could provide some catharsis to your caring Salubri. To that end, what poor soul is blessed or cursed with your healing touch? The terminally ill, orphaned children, traumatized thin bloods? Fans of VTM who have read more than the V5 books would know there is a lot more than 7 Salubri, but you would also know that most of them are not healers. The warrior caste are protectors and fighters, which could make for an interesting concept for a V5 Salubri, whether they are on the front lines of any battle or some sort of free-eyed hitman, using your powers against your foes, as limiting as they are as an offensive means in 5th edition. If you do treat your Salubri as one of the warriors, they traditionally were with the Sabbat, but it is easy to twist them to fit the Anarchs. Does your Salubri exhibit more monstrous traits? The tragedy they exhibit is not so human. Perhaps they revel in their horrible bane, as opposed to their helpful compulsion. There is also the more obscure Watcher caste, the Wu Zhao, who are scholars and explorers, who could either mean thief, investigator, spy, or odd bookkeeper. Secrets are worth more than gold in Kindred Society, and if you can prove yourself useful by digging up some truly dank secrets, then the superiors would consider keeping you around. There are 2 blood-based tools that the Salubri have to discover said secrets, and that would be Auspex and Dominate. Auspex grants the supernatural means to unearth wisdom, not of this realm, but to look into the past and future, which helps them prepare for an attack about to strike or may come. Dominate can force the truth out of people, whether their own malicious means or to strain buried traumas from shocked individuals, kindred and mortal alike. It is also used to make people forget about the whole bleeding eye thing, despite said mind wiping is accompanied by the forehead bleeding, reinforcing just how stupid this fucking bane is. But I digress. The last of their disciplines is Fortitude, which I don't think needs explaining. With this wide range of functions, there are many ways you can bend predator types to fit your kindred concepts, but here is what I would suggest. Keeping with the overall caring theme, Consensualist is the most likely, probably stereotypical, of the predator types of your character to have, in addition to Grim Reaper. Varma is another debatably humane choice if feeding upon humans is too much for the weak heart, or Bloodleech if even that is too much, or you wish to be part of the reason why the Salubri are considered soul thieves. Alleycat could be easy for Salubri who just don't give a fuck. Trapdoor can provide a means for the Salubri to feed without going out about risking being caught. This could also be done under the guise of a therapist taking payment in blood, a strange tarot reader with a very authentic looking all-seeing third eye, or just some monstrous freak getting a buzz out of it all. There are many lore sheets you can assign to your character, but here's some of the ones I think fit well with tonight's clan, or should I say bloodline. With what has been discussed tonight and sticking with said theme solely, any character-focused lore sheet may benefit from having a Salubri plaything. Some may have a special interest in you just because your existence may bring about the SI, but keeps you around for reasons you can discuss with your ST. A lonely Salubri may find family, not with their coterie, but with any of the cults in V5, whose members may not care for clan loyalty, but for loyalty only for the cult and their deity or being in question. Both Blood-Plagued and the Circulatory system from the core book and Anarch respectively, both other with different/easier ways to obtain blood, whilst also getting yourself out there in various forms of danger. You may wish to take the high clan lore sheet or low clan, depending on your ST's decision for the outlook of the Salubri, both of which can be found in the core book. Combat-focused Salubri warriors may take an interest in kindred dueling from Chicago Folios and Lupine Expert from Chicago by Night if you're feeling particularly daring. The latest lore sheet, as of the writing of this script, is the Machinations of Saulot, which is the first and only lore sheet to be made available for Salubri characters, which may be in your interest. It is available as part of the Book of Naught Apocrypha from Renegade. If you don't want all those pieces and just the lore sheet, I will leave a link in the description for you for a copy of the lore sheet I obtained. And of course, and certainly not least, there is the Golconda lore sheet from the core book. There are many ways one can build a character. Some of them are wrong, but most of them are right. Ultimately, it should be the narrative that drives the stats, powers and mechanics that work with and against them. These are just my takes and mine alone. How would you build a character belonging to this vampire clan/bloodline? What wouldn't you do? What would you add to shake things up and make the concept just a little spicy? Let me know in the comments below. To be kept updated, follow the Lore by Night VTM Instagram and Blue Sky pages to find out when we upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.